Listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com. It is a Wednesday morning, and this show keeps rolling on in the heart of the 618. You know, the last couple of weeks, guys, we've had some really cool conversations. Another great one getting ready to take place now with EJ Snyder. And this is just really cool, EJ. You're a highly decorated Army combat veteran, 25 years of military experience. Add the TV component on, add the survival expert skills on, and those components. And this is just a great resume. Thank you so much for your time today.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here with you, CJ. And just down here in North Carolina, it was a little bit chilly this morning, so it looks like I think we're going to have an early winter this year. And so I'm just getting things ready to go. I've been packing up my truck. I've got a road trip tomorrow. I'm heading out to a film set to be part of a feature film where I'll be doing a co-starring role. I have some stunts that we'll be doing as well as co-executive producing. So I'm pretty excited. Pretty nice project.
Wow. Congratulations on the co-executive producer spot, too. That's big stuff. And then on top of that, EJ, after all the things that you've done, did you ever think your background in the military would lead you into the TV film world that it is today?
Well, to be honest, you know, when I was a young man growing up, one of my dreams was to get on TV, be an actor and a stuntman. And so as I was finishing up my Army career, I was like, well, what the heck am I going to do? And I was actually stationed in Hawaii. So there's a lot of film out there, a lot of TV stuff that goes on. And I started dabbling in as a hobby initially while I was still active duty, so I could figure out, is that really what I want to do? And it worked out. You know, I was on several different feature films like Forgetting Sarah Marshall, The Informant. I did You May Not Kiss the Bride, a bunch of independent films, student films, and then I was picked up on the TV show Lost, and I was a minor character on the TV show. I started out as a freighter, as a marshal, one of the U.S. Marshals, and then later I was tech advising, and they asked me to come on to be one of the freighter boat mercenaries. So I was the B team leader Redfern on the TV show Lost.
That's so cool. And then EJ, on top of that too, you were also on Naked and Afraid and so many really cool television shows that our audience has come to love. But before I dive into film and TV and all of the really cool stuff, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your background in the military. You ended your active service as a major, correct? E9?
No, Sergeant Major E9.
Oh, sorry about that, sir.
Yeah.
And if you could you take us through some of your background, some of the missions, some of the things that you were a part of in your military career?
Sure. I joined the Army when I was 19 years old. I turned 19 the day I came in active duty, and I automatically, fell in love with it. They offered me so many other jobs, and I was like, why do you go in the military to do that stuff? I want to be a warrior. Show me all these videos. I really wanted to be a Green Beret. I wanted to do those type things and be a Ranger. And so I got in. I was hungry. I wound up going to the airborne first thing, and went through basic training, went through airborne school, tried to get in the Rangers regiment at that time, but my job skill at the time was an anti-tanker. They didn't have any slots for me, so they sent me to the 82nd Airborne Division. I spent my first 7 years in the Army with the 82nd Airborne Division, and pretty much the same company the entire time. So I grew up through the ranks pretty quick. Went through every school I could get my hands on. Ranger school being the big catalyst. That was a very pivotal point in my military career and my life. I learned the Ranger Creed, and I live by that thing till this day. And so being a Ranger, I was very proud of that fact and that accomplishment. And then I like I said, I was in the paratroopers. I went to the 1991 Gulf War, and was a platoon sergeant, one of the youngest platoon sergeants in the 82nd Airborne Division at that time. And we, battled all the way, starting in Saudi Arabia, went through the border up through Iraq, and it was a pretty significant moment in time. Being so young and leading men into battle was quite a significant event in my life. And then I just made rank really, really fast. I went on to be a drill sergeant. And then later on, I did that for 2 years, and I became a ranger instructor. And when I was a ranger instructor, they sent me to survival school in the Army. It's called SEER School, and I also went to a tracking course to learn how to track men on the ground, as well as I learned how to track animals. But I actually went back, and for 3 years, I was the primary survival and tracking instructor for the Florida Ranger Camp, and I revised the entire way we taught people survival and how to track people in the ground. And my POI, which I took from the Vietnam book on tracking, because it kind of was a lost art, and later on the Army came in and readopted my program to be the Army's tracking school POI. So that was pretty exciting for me to see that years later they did that. Then I just made rank through the Army rather quickly, went to all kinds of different assignments all over the country, and finished up going to the Senior Leadership Academy for the Enlisted Corps, which was the United States Army Sergeant Major Academy out in Texas. I spent a year under the schooling house, and then went on to serve 8 years as a Sergeant Major in the Army, which is a top enlisted rank. Wound up being a Command Sergeant Major for the 121 Infantry Gimlets Battalion, and with those guys, we went back to Iraq for a second stint for me for 15 months. And, I've earned 2 Bronze Stars through that process, the Legion of Merit, multiple other medals, probably over 40, as well as being recognized by the National Infantry Association with the Order of St. Maurice Centurion level. So been on all kinds of missions all over the globe, and in those 2 different wars, but a whole lot of other actions that we went through. So it's kind of how I sum it up. A great career. I was very proud to serve. I did it for 25 years. I do it all over again.
Wow, that's just incredible. And on top of that, EJ, I wanted to ask you, you hit on a couple of really cool points that I thought really just stuck with me, and one of them was the creed that you carry with you today. How important is that creed for you and your success, post-military to where you are now? Do you think if you didn't have that, would you be as successful?
I believe so, because it's about positive mindset. Mindset's everything in life. No matter what you're doing, you want to be successful, you have to have your mind right. You have to stay positive. You never give up, and you always charge forward. And I learned early on as a kid that I had to rely on myself. And if I want something done right, I knew I can count on me, and I had to figure out how to get that done. And it just developed my mindset in such a way that I had this mindset and iron will in my heart, and I just wouldn't give up. Losing was never an option for me, and I never lose. I either win or I learn. And so I took that philosophy into the military and past that. But what the Ranger Creed gave me was 6 stanzas of how we operated. And the Rangers are one of the oldest. I know the Marines like to say they're the oldest military service on the planet, but they actually aren't. It's actually the Army Rangers, who started long before we even had a standing army, and they were operating in the colonial army, helping the Brits at times when they were here. Wow. And advising in the field. They actually were ahead of their time. I did a show called Into the Wild Frontier, and one of the people we talk about is Major Robert Rogers. And Rogers Rangers is famous for their standing orders. They had all these standing orders that helped them operate. So in the absence of orders, you went back to the standing orders, and you just kept having the initiative to keep on the fight with the enemy, because they didn't have radios back then. They had to use runners to communicate. And he was the prelude to our Ranger Creed, which it just still stands to this day. And it's, for me, the first one, recognizing that I volunteered as a Ranger. That stays with you. If I mess up in life, they don't say, oh, look, EJ messed up when he was in the Army. Look at what that Ranger did. And you would bring disgrace to your regiment. That just was something I would not do. And so I followed it through, and I keep it with me to this day, and I still live by it. And, I guess I could credit it, now I think back on it, as, yes, it has been part of my success and what I've been doing, because, you live it, you breathe it, it's ingrained in you, and you never forget it. And it's a great creed. It's it's one that I think is most known in the Army.
100%. And as we kind of transition out of your time in active service, CJ, I wanted to transition into some of the things that we see you on in film, like Naked and Afraid, some of these feature films, and being a stuntman. I got to ask you, first day on the set, because I'm in pro wrestling myself. I know a gust of wind puts me into Texas, but I was training and I'm a bad guy, and I'm hearing about all this stuff, and I didn't realize how dangerous it is to be a stuntman, even in the world of Hollywood today. Yeah. What was your first day like on set?
Actually, it was just another day at the office. My first time I got involved with it, because I'm a SAG actor stuntman. My buddy was filming Lost, and they were like, "Hey, you want to come out here and do some helicasting, jumping out of the helicopters and jumping in the water and doing all that stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like a great time, and you get paid for it. Wonderful." And so that's kind of like, that was easy, but that's obviously a dangerous activity. But, and some of them are low end stunts and whatever. But, for this one, I'll be in a mine shaft, and we'll be simulating a mine shaft caving in. So it should be pretty interesting. We've advanced so far now where we have green screens and everything else we can do with CGI that, it's probably a little safer. But like when I'm on Naked Afraid, for instance, there is no stunt doubles. There is no body doubles. You're out there in the wild. You have wildlife that you're dealing with. That's real time. When I'm slicing the head off of a water moccasin to dispatch it so I can have it for dinner, that's a real event. And I do it all the time in my survival world when I'm out, training and training others. It's just part of what I do. And so, I mean, you talk about like Naked Afraid, for instance. I was trying out for a whole bunch of reality shows that I was into. My name started floating around all these casting directors, and Discovery Channel was looking for someone to replace one of the hosts of Dual Survival. And they have to try out 5 people. So they had 4 guys already there training in Arizona to do screen tests with Cody Lundeen, who is the other host. He's the barefoot guy, the bush hippie. Yeah. So we're all out there, and they needed another person because one person fell off. So I got a call. They were asking for someone that could come out, and I was just a filler. And I wound up being one of the top 2 to finish up with it. It came down to me and another guy. Discovery picked this other guy, Joe Tedai, over me. And I worked with Joe on another project before, and I thought they got it wrong. I have much more survival skill sets than what they had.
Absolutely.
Hold on, it says my thing didn't stay. I'll make sure we're still here. It just said that we were having an issue with my internet. You can hear me, right?
Oh yeah, you froze for a couple of seconds, but we're all good now.
All right, I see what was that. For some reason, I had a little accident earlier. Not to get off the story, I'll get back on it. But I spilled a little water on my computer because this lid wasn't secure.
Oh no!
And it went over to airplane mode, so it should be doing fine now. But so when they saw me for Dual Survival, knowing I had this high-end experience, I think what it was they were getting ready to do this show Naked Afraid. And they wanted me to come out and consult on it and be part of the first episode, produce in the field. And then it was like, hey, we're going to put you out there for 21 days with a strange woman, a partner, and you guys are going to do this. And I was like, whoa, I got all these wearing 3 hats. Not only do I got to survive, I got to help you guys build this show, and I got to have producer me. I was like, okay, no problem. It's a good challenge. I accept it. And that was going on 11 years ago. This January would be 11 years ago. And we filmed the pilot episode to have this hit TV series. And you want to talk about being on set the first day, and they tell you take all your clothes off. It's like, I thought you guys were kidding. Are you really serious? Okay. All right. Let's safari Africa naked. And, the rest is history. And I've been on 6 challenges, 206 days total, no taps. I've had some very significant injuries out there. I've put my body through the ringer out there through this whole process. But it is a very real survival challenge. There's no scripted to it. There's no helping. And next to Alone, it's probably one of the toughest challenges one can put themselves through. Except I feel it's a little bit tougher than Alone. I have a lot of friends on Alone, nothing against the challenge. I want to do the challenge. They just won't take someone from Naked Afraid to go on that challenge because I think they know hands down we'll win.
Yeah.
But, we go out with very little, where they go out with 30 items to survive on, which is great. It's not easy. That's just still not easy. But we have very little items. We do it very primitively, and we don't have clothes. So I just leave everyone out there figure out which one's tougher. And they go, well, they stay out for 80 days to 100 days. And I'm like, have you ever seen what I can do with just a knife?
Yeah.
I don't think 100 days is that big of a problem for me.
What?
Hell, on the swamp episode, it was a 60-day challenge. After 2 weeks, I had lost both my first two partners. They were small females. It was very cold because we're in the swamps in the late fall, early winter. So it gets pretty dang cold in the swamp. It's a wet cold. And I'm sitting there, and after about 2 weeks by myself, my channel was filling up with green lilies. And so I needed to clear those lilies out to make a fishing hole so the fish would come up. And I wanted to just fish right off right next to my camp. So it was going to be a perfect camp for me. And I got the right side done. I got the left side done. I was walking along this tree. It's about 12 feet above the water. And I got this stick and I'm moving the lilies out of the way. And I want to get to the last part because I want it to be 50 yards wide by 100 yards out. And then my plan was to continue to build a bridge over to the other side so I could walk and use that piece of the land. And, as I got to the end of this willow that had fell over and it was wiggly like a snake, the last 10 feet of that branch or that tree was actually dead, beknownst to me. I thought it was still okay.
Oh,
and so I stepped out on it and I'm checking the weight of it. I'm like, oh, all right, I got my arm around this last branch here. It looks like it'll hold my weight. Take a second step. My plan was to lay down and spread my weight along this branch and just finish up what I had to do. But I took that second step. I went right into the drink. I speared my right testicle in two places, tore it open. I'm in characters. I'm thinking, oh, they got the drone up. They got all the cameras going. So I got out of the water. I was yelling. I was, oh, really screwed up, boy. And I knew something poked me, and I got up there. I'm covering myself up because I'm naked. I only have my necklace on. I took the bag off, and I peer up. I kind of move my hands out of the way long enough so that I can see what is going on here. What is going on? Sorry, I got the sun going down here, and I look at it. I can see there's a problem. It's bleeding a little bit. I can see two holes. I'm like, oh, cover it up. All right. You dang swamp, you want to try to castrate me? Beep, beep, beep. You take my beep, beep, beep. You want a war? I'll give you a war. And so I stayed in there, and I walked up, and I said, I went around my backside of my shelter to take a look at the problem, and I could see everything inside. I'm like, really, God?
Oh,
you couldn't have just bit my hand off? Alligator, take off one of my hands, something cool to get out of here. You got to try to take my testicles, my manhood. And so I was like, well, we got this. And I went around the corner. I told the producers, look, tell the executive producer I'm not going anywhere. And then tell the medic to get up here, bring her stitch kit, because we got a problem, and we've got to stitch some. I need a few stitches. And they were like, "Oh my God!" And they all start freaking out. I'm like, "It's okay." So they had to I had to wait almost an hour for the emergency room nurse to get there, who was a trauma nurse. She was on her day off. They flew her in, got her to me. She shows up. She looks at the problem. She's like, I'm going to have to clean this out. If we can't get it clean, you're out of here. And I'm like, nah, give me a Brillo pad. Let's start scrubbing. Let's get this clean because I'm not leaving. She breaks out a needle, gets ready to numb it. And I'm like, what are you doing with that? She's like, oh, well, I got to numb the area. I'm like, the hell you will. You're going to numb me. You're going to stick me 10, 12 times with that? It's a loose sack, lady. My adrenaline's up. Let's just start stitching her. Give me the needle and I'll do it myself. So she stitched me up. She's like, oh, okay. Well, now that it's done, you got three things you got to do. First, you got to keep it dry. I look around. Okay, it's a swamp. It rains pretty frequently. All right. Wet swamp. Keep it dry. Got it. And now you have to keep it clean. I'm laying in mud. I'm completely dirty. I'm like, yeah, okay, keep it clean. Got it. What else? Now you got to take it easy. You can't do anything physical. You got to just sit down and you got to relax. Okay, I'm all by myself here in the swamp. No one's coming to help me, and the sun's going down in about an hour, and I need firewood. Okay, sure. Take it easy. Got you. You got to follow doctor's orders or you're out of here. Okay. And I got up and I hobbled off and I was like, I get some fucking firewood now. And I went just back to what I was doing. I wound up staying another 33 days. That happened on day 27. I did a total of 60 days out there.
Wow. And now I got to ask you, is that the worst pain you've experienced on the set or in any type of...
Honestly, I really wasn't in any pain.
Wow.
It tore the sack. And I knew something happened, but I really wasn't in any pain, and I really didn't really have a problem at all with it. So I've had other pains, but that wasn't that bad. Do I need to close this so that the sun isn't here?
Oh no, you're perfectly fine. We got you a good picture right here on camera, and a couple more questions for you. It's okay if you can't answer this one. You mentioned SAG-AFTRA being a stuntman through them. Did that strike affect you in any way and pushing back projects?
Not really, because the project I'm working on, because the strike's still going on,
right?
They're an independent production company, so they're not part of the producers, that whatever the Producers Guild is. So they're not in agreement with that. So projects still go on as much as people don't realize. And a lot of times they're the smaller, low budget indie films or features. Ours is a moderate budget, but it is definitely a feature film, and that's why we can legally still work on them. If it's a bigger project that the Producers Guild is in a contract with SAG-AFTRA, then you can't work there. So I was just fortunate to be a part of this one.
Absolutely. And also, EJ, I was on your website earlier, and you have some great blog posts, too. I was going through the Dollar General survival guide and some of the items. And I feel like that's the way I want to kind of wrap this up, because I told you 15 minutes because of the show. But, man, this has been really cool, and I really appreciate your time, and I mean that.
That's great.
Can you take me through the Dollar General survival hack? Let's just say, God forbid, something awful happens tomorrow, and we got to rush to the old DG.
Oh, well, what I tell people, there's you got to have a survival kit. Being able to take two sticks and rub them together is a magical moment, but it's not for everyone. And you don't want to, fire is fickle. So when I start looking, if you go to my website, you see I have all kinds of survival gear in from like affordable to moderate to more expensive. And, basically you get what you pay for, but it's a tough world, a tough economy. And I wanted to be able, for people that just could not afford to buy anything fancy, that you could literally, go spend $25-30 at the Dollar General or the Dollar Tree or whatever. And I made a matrix and I had them all on the matrix. And you can go there and buy a kit off the shelf that will sustain you for a good bit of time, and it had everything from, and you want to cover your basics: shelter, fire, water, and some ways to get food. And don't buy food, but buy ways to capture food, and then turn other items into multiple use items. Like if you buy a can of something, you can cut the top off and you can use that as your water boiling container. And you also want to, get a cutting edge, like a knife of some sort. Some of the stores you can actually find folding knives at a good, reasonable rate. And the trick is hit the clearance aisle first or the sales section, because that's where you get a lot of really bang for your buck deals. Everything from a cheap tarp to whatever. And then you start, buying your items. And at the end of the time, if you're on a $30 budget, you look at your items and you prioritize them and go for whatever fits your budget. But you really can get a kit on a budget. I did the same thing with the Walmart bug out bag. A little bit more. I gave myself about $150 budget for that one. And I got great gear, because in Walmart, they've got a camping section and they've got some survival gear that you can get. And you can get it for a very affordable price with some really good stuff. Man, so you can go to EJSnyder.com, and all my social media links are there. You can link up with me on my YouTube channel and Facebook page at it's EJ Snyder, just my name. And I'm king of the 1-minute survival tips, hacks, and tricks. We went viral back in May, so we'd love to have you over there. And if you're going to go to any of my other social medias, because I post this stuff on all my platforms, Instagram, TikTok, what is known now as the X, formerly Twitter, and Clapper, at EJ Snyder 333. At EJ Snyder 333. We'd love to have you come over. We're getting ready to do some stuff with Mr. Beast with some survival things. So we're going to blow up pretty big pretty soon.
That's just incredible. And what we'll also do, because we are doing a little bit of a write-up on this, our news team, is we'll make sure to link all those with hyperlinks so that way people can just press on them and go and then be a part of it if they aren't already. EJ, man,
that's awesome.
If I had the opportunity to talk for 2 hours just with one guest, I'd do it, because you're awesome. And I mean that. This was so cool. Thank you so much for your time. If you have anything else that I could do to get you on the show, maybe survival tips every once in a while, man, I'd love to have you, because you're great.
Thank you. Just reach out to me. I'd be happy to come back and whatever you're talking about. And just folks, just stay safe, take care of each other, and stay situationally aware of your surroundings. Doesn't matter if you're in the woods or in the streets. Bad things are out there trying to get you, whether it's a snake or a criminal, or if, as we've seen in Israel, you're in your home and you have a terrorist just banging on your door to cause problems. So go to my website. Got the ultimate bug-in home defense guide. It's a film that you can buy. It's very affordable. We're turning it into a book next year, but it helps you set up your home and get you ready for the bad days, because they are coming, and I want you to be prepared. As well as I have my survival outdoor skills series. It's a 14.5-hour, 11 video set we put together. You can buy it in pieces, but it's very affordable, and it's basically my basic survival class just for you. And you get the same EJ you see on TV, and you get all my lessons that you're learning. And I want you to be safe, and you got to take care of yourself and your loved ones. So please, if you don't have a plan, you know, you got to plan. You have to plan and be ready.
100%. And EJ, thank you very much for your time again, sir. I really appreciate it. For folks, again, it's EJSnyder.com to get your hands on some of that really important information. And EJ, we'll talk again soon. I really appreciate your time.
Take care, CJ.
Take a quick one. Wednesday morning rolls on right after this in the heart of the 618.